We are waiting on a ban of Russian oil imports. We are waiting for any confirmation from the White House. Meanwhile, Ohio Attorney General David Yost is calling on all 5 of the state's public pension systems to divest all of their Russian-based investments from their portfolios in response to Moscow's invasion and war on Ukraine. Between all 5 of the state's public pension systems, Russian investments make up around $300 million. Joining me right now to discuss this is the Attorney General of Ohio, David Yost. AG Yost, great to see you. Thanks very much for being here. This is one of the levers that this administration could pull, that is the capital markets level leverage, because many investors may not even realize that their pension funds, their ETFs are holding Russian companies, and in effect, they are funding Putin's war on Ukraine. Your thoughts?
Well, that's exactly right. The capitalization of Russian companies is helping their economy to continue to run, which is where the money comes from for this war of conquest. We had to go looking. We didn't know, and it wasn't obvious at first, how much we had in public pension funds that were invested just from Ohio in Russia. As you mentioned, it was about $300 million.
Well, what about the companies tied to the Chinese government? I mean, you're talking about state pension systems divesting from investments of rogue countries like Russia. What about China, which, of course, has companies trading on U.S. exchanges, even though they don't follow the same auditing rules? These companies, many of which are subsidized by the CCP. Do you feel the same about the Chinese companies in these indexes and pension systems?
Well, I'll tell you, I sure will if they embark on a war of conquest, for example, to take Taiwan. The use of war, not in self-defense, but to expand national territory, is a centuries-old kind of tactic that we thought was pretty much gone. Now, there's a lot of reasons to consider divesting from China as well, not to the least of which is their treatment of ethnic minorities within their borders. But there is a quantum level of difference between your internal activities that are morally objectionable and waging an optional, chosen war of conquest.
Well, I mean, A.J. Yost, it feels that we are not sufficiently punishing Vladimir Putin for invading an unprovoked, peaceful country of Ukraine. I mean, let's face it, there are scores of millions of Americans still holding companies like Gazprom, Lukoil, Rosneft, Sberbank, Novatek, and many others. Tell me about these indexes and why they hold these companies, even as investors may not realize what they're owning and buying.
That's a great question, and I wonder where all of these ESG activists are at this moment. However you feel about the ESG movements, surely Russia's actions are far worse than anything that they've been calling for divestment for. Beyond that, Ohio has a substantial Ukrainian population, people that have descended from Ukrainian stock. Some of those are surely public employees whose pension savings are being used to help capitalize the Russian war machine. I don't even know what we could possibly say to those people to think about their homeland, their ancestral homeland being invaded and perhaps supported with capital from their pensions. And I would dare say that that would apply across the entire broader economy.
Yeah, it's a great point that you make, the Ukrainian population in Ohio, AJ. I'm with James Freeman this morning from the Wall Street Journal. James, jump in.
Oh, thanks, Maria. Thanks, General. This is kind of intriguing because I believe tomorrow the Russians are hoping to open their stock market. If Ohio and then other states are putting in all these sell orders, is it possible maybe they won't be able to reopen until Putin decides finally to relent?
Yeah, and perhaps you could tell me. I don't know if they've got automatic circuit breakers in their stock market system that kind of a crash that you're describing might close it back down. But I think that's a definite possibility.
All right, we will leave it there. AG Yost, thanks very much for your leadership on the subject. We will check back as news develops. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.